Hello everyone. Just a warning, this video will contain discussions of acts of violence and probably some fairly strong language, so it's not going to be completely PG, and my apologies for that. This weekend I was going to write a video or do a video about cognitive biases, but due to some personal problems that got pushed back. I was going to post that video today, but some things have come up that need to get discussed. I was hoping to wait until a later date to talk about this kind of issue, just because it's very emotional and it's very polarizing, and I don't want to chase away potential viewers because I start talking about very decisive issues right away, but it's been happening a lot these last couple weekends and it needs to be talked about. So here goes. Stop hurting people, you fucking idiots. This morning in Houston, a man opened fire at a strip mall and ended up hitting and injuring 6 people. And then 3 others were injured because of related causes, running away and such. One of those people is in critical condition, another is in serious, last I checked. This last week has seen a string of acts of mass violence, from the bombings in New York and New Jersey last weekend, and stabbings in St. Cloud, here in Minnesota, to the shootings in Burlington, Washington. But those aren't the only acts of mass violence that have occurred. You've probably only heard of these acts of mass violence if you live in the area. But there's been, Baltimore saw a downtown shooting that injured 8, including a toddler. 6 people were stabbed in Boston on Sunday after a fight. And there have been shootings of 4 more people, the legal definition of a mass shooting, in Illinois, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Indiana, California, all within the last 2 weekends. And I'm tired of the killing, I'm tired of the pain, I'm tired of the suffering. And I'm tired of people thinking that they somehow have the right to just go and hurt and injure and kill innocent people. Because, for whatever reason, they're angry because they think that some philosophy or life goal means they have to, because they think there's no meaning to life, and somehow that means that their only recourse is to go out and kill themselves and take as many people along with them as they can. I know I'm not the only one who is sick and tired of these acts of violence. People on all sides of the arguments and debates that rise up whenever this happens are tired of these acts of violence happening. But I'm also tired of the debates. Because every time an act of violence comes up, there's a debate, there's an argument about what could have been done to end it. Oh, if we had just had better gun laws, oh, if we had just had better mental health care, if we had just rooted out terrorists better, oh, if we had just not let those immigrants in, and so on and so forth, if we had just done this thing. And there's almost no talk of, okay, but what are we going to do? And when it is discussed, what are we going to do in the future, it's, oh, well, if we just do the thing that we should have done. And just stop. Stop touting oversimplified, overused extremes as the solution to this very complex problem. Touting an oversimplified and extreme point of view about how to solve mass violence in our society is not only ineffective, a waste of time, but it is disrespectful to those who have been victimized by these acts of violence. I will do a more researched video later on about the subject, about what causes mass violence. But for right now, I have this to say. The answer is not getting rid of guns. The answer is not just increasing mental health care. The answer is not finding and figuring out who might be terrorists and getting them out of society. While all of these possible solutions may help reduce some of the violence, they are treating the symptoms of a much larger social illness. And I think nobody wants to address this illness, this sickness, because it is so complex and it is so hard to wrap our heads around, and because the solutions it demands, much like a vaccine, are extremely complex. We like the simple answer. We are seeing dozens of people every week hurt and killed and families suffering, and we want it to stop. And the easiest thing for us to do is say, here's the simple solution. If we just do this one thing, guys, the statistics will go down. So many less people will be hurt. But place all acts of mass violence in the last few years on a map, and you will see that the answer is far more complex. The problem and the answer is far more complex than any of us want to admit it is. You want to restrict guns. If you think that if we take away the guns, or if we at least restrict how easy it is to get them, that's going to get rid of acts of violence. But take away on this map every act of gun violence, and you still have mass stabbings, you still have bombings, you still have people who want to go around and just hit people over the head with a brick or a bat. If you think that it's simply mental health care, that so many of these people who hurt others are mentally disturbed, we just need better mental health care, you can take those away, and we will still have multiple instances of people who are of completely sound mind who decide to go out and hurt people. If you think it's terrorism, take away the recent acts of terrorism, or even acts of terrorism going back all the way to 9/11, and we will still have numerous instances that had no relation to terrorism, no relation to any extremism at all. The solution is extremely complex, just as the problem is. And we need to admit that, and we need to look into that before we are going to fix this problem. And I don't have the answer. That's not what this video is about. It is not about giving you the answer to this problem, but it's about pointing out the problem. That the problem is not a bunch of extremes, and the solutions are not a bunch of extremes either, but that the problem is more nuanced. The problem is more complex. I want you to see the forest instead of just looking at individual trees that are contributing to the problem. I will analyze this issue further in another video. And I'll see what social scientists and criminologists and other professionals are saying about this complex issue, and about why, for whatever reason, American society and American culture seems to be giving birth to these people who feel like they can just hurt whoever they want. But for now, I just want to point out that it is not as simple as everyone, it seems, on mass media and social media is making it out to be. And we need to strive for a more complex solution. It will not be an easy solution, but it will be a complex solution that will address the multifaceted points of this problem we are seeing in one of the most powerful and richest first world countries. I'll have to check to make sure this is true, but I don't think any other first world nation, developed nation like ours, is facing this much social violence. And that's scary, and that needs to be addressed. But please, most of all, please stop oversimplifying the issues and going, well, it's just this one thing. If we just fix this one thing, it will all go away. Please stop touting some cure-all like some zealous 18th century crackpot. That if you just apply this elixir, it will solve all of society's needs. I know it's hard, but the answer's complex. And we need to admit that, and we need to look into that. But most of all, please remember to love those close to you. Remember to encourage them, and remember to give them little tokens of affection. A hug, a kiss, a little card. Because there is happiness in the world, and there is goodness in the world, though it may be hard to see with how dark the world seems sometimes. I don't know what the solution is, and I don't know what scientists and researchers are saying, but I think it does start with individuals. And so as an individual, love those around you. Take care of those around you. Consider trying, if someone cuts in front of you in the mall or in traffic, or or is rude to you on the street, not responding in kind and just trying to be kind. And despite the somber tone of this video, please try to have a good week. I hope things will get better. I will see you all later.